What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another part to an alternate universe What If. Now, this will be part 4 of What If Deku was the only male in My Hero Academia. Now, y'all guys is asking for part 4, so I'm here to give y'all the part 4 because I promised I will give y'all part 4. And also, another announcement to make. I know y'all guys want me to make, like, a part 5 or part 4 of What If... No, part 3, if I'm correct. Part 3. If I can't remember. I think a part 3 or part 4 of What If Meliodas was in high school DXC. If I do it today and I make like a 20-minute or 30-minute of that video, I'm letting y'all guys know right now, y'all have to get that up to like 130 likes because I love doing videos, but I don't know, something about Meliodas being in high school DSC just doesn't feel right to me. I don't know why. I don't know why it doesn't feel right to me, but I will do the video for you guys. I don't know what it... I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. I'm just being honest with you guys, but I will continue doing the video, okay? But further ado, let's get started of this, and let's get with a quick short recap, and then we get to the new parts. So when we last pretty much left off, Deku was pretty much doing the sports festival and pretty much won it and stuff. After that, pretty much he was getting assigned to an old lady that will teach him how to use his one for all quirk. And the old lady pretty much says, so this is what he brings, which Deku is in confusion. That is the most shortest recap, but let's get to the new parts. So Deku is pretty much with the old lady, female All Might says, mentor, which she's pretty much looking at Deku and pretty much checking him out, pretty much trying to see what he aims to be and what he can achieve with the quirk. She's pretty much checking him out, looking at his muscles and stuff, and saying, look like you have great potential to unlock the more power from the One for All quirk, which... what is the all for one? No, One for All. One for All quirk. Which, pretty much, Deku is confused and saying thank you. This is where she begins to start their training, and Deku's learning how to use the quirk he's learning to use the quirk much quicker and much faster, so he understands the mechanics of not just using one side for the quirk to use the whole body, to use full cowling. So he understands how to use full cowling. We're going to say about a day, about 2 days, quick ease. The rest of the weeks he just practiced how to use full cowling or how to use his other quirks or his other abilities with his quirk, such as using summoning roots much quicker with the One for All quirk and making lava come much quicker or come from the or work from the crown and stuff, and turning earth into lava and all that stuff, and making dry ice. You could say he can make dry ice, which dry ice is like below code and it really can hurt you, you could say. But yeah, for the remaining weeks, that's what happened. Now, after the training, the old lady pretty much talking to Deku, saying, "You're the first ever successor who can actually understand how to use the quirk and to use the quirk with your abilities," which Deku thanks his mentor and pretty much starts to head back to the academy. As he's headed back, this is where all the girls are pretty much talking and pretty much decided that they're going on a camping trip, which Deku is oh, before the camping trip or after the camping trip? Actually, yeah, no. Yeah, pretty much they're talking about the camping trip that's coming up soon, which Deku asks what they're talking about, which they begin to explain what's happening, and everybody's about to be going on the camping trip, which Deku is pretty much excited to hop on, but this is where we're gonna say the next day. This is where the attack happened, the stain arc happens. Now, due to the accident of Edon, if I'm correct, brother getting in an accident, this is where he joins up with the other heroes to try to chase out the stain, which this is where Deku realizes and start going to help out. Everything happens in Stain as Edon to the ground and Stain's about to finish him until Deku comes in and he pretty much blitz and punch Stain in the gut, sending him flying to the wall. This is where Stain pretty much gets up and he's pretty much licking his knife saying, "Ha, you got me," which Deku begins to fall down, with one knee and realizing what the hell, trying to figure out what's happening until he realized that Stain had something to do with him. This before Stain can get any closer, this is where Deku tap his finger on the ground and summon tree roots from the ground and to attack Stain, which Stain backs up, doing flips and saying, "Huh, almost got stabbed there." Which this is where Deku begins to start getting back up and saying, "Huh, look like you almost cut me." Which Stain realizing that Deku is uninfected of the effects. Now this is where, of course, Stain, well, female Stain, but I'm just gonna say Stain. Pretty much, she started charging at Deku and started to cut him up and stuff. Which Deku pretty much grabs her leg, and pretty much swings her and throws her out the area. Which Deku jumps in and chases after her. Which Edon is saying, "No, this is my fight." Which Deku's not hearing and begins to start chasing after Stain. This is where, of course, Deku begins to fight with Stain, and he's pretty much picking up his ones and dodging her attacks and pretty much giving her a good of a fight and pretty much damaging her in the process. This is where, of course, the other heroes come in, including female All Might comes in and trying to stop Stain, the hero killer. This is where Stain, she released her pure blood loss at everybody. Everybody's affected except for Deku, which he pretty much just used his roots to trap her and trap her still, which this is where all the heroes jump in and pretty much restrain her. Which, all days justice is served and all days work. Which Edon says sorry after the outcome and Deku forgives him. Now, next day, pretty much this is where I guess the camping trip happens and everybody's getting, their stuff packed and stuff and all excited to start heading to the camping trip. Everybody's on the bus talking to each other and all that. All the females, except for Deku. He's just looking out and enjoying the view and stuff. This is where Uraraka, she asks if Deku's alright. And Deku says, yeah, he's alright. Just a little tired. Which this is where she said, well, if you're tired, you can always come and lay on my lap. Which Deku smiles and says, okay. Which all the other girls is pretty much talking and saying that bitch. How dare she try to take Deku all for herself, which all the girls are fighting over Deku secretly, but Deku doesn't know. Now, after they're all heading off the bus, Deku realizes something's not right, and this is where the instructors come in and say, welcome to the training camp trip. With everybody saying, oh no, and trying to run until she breaks the bridge and everybody falls down, except for Deku. He instantly, let's say, used the roots to use the earth to make another platform. So everybody else falls except for Deku. This is where Deku said, oh, was I supposed to fall with them? Which the instructor says, yeah, you were supposed to help them work together. Which Deku says, oh, okay, and jumps down. Which they both scratch their heads, said, how did he know? Now, of course, everything happens the same, but Deku just is in the mix using his life, his earth style and stuff. I mean, his earth abilities and his life abilities to pretty much trap them and pretty much help out the team more. So they don't be much tired. Everybody's walking out the forest pretty much okay, but a little bit hurt, but okay in these. Which the instructor is pretty much saying, good job, everyone, including you, Deku. And pretty much tells everybody to get a rest. Well, tomorrow they're going to be going to train their quirks and stuff, which everybody agrees. Now, this is going to be an 18 part, so bear with me. This is going to be 18x part, so this is going to be extra detail. Later that night, Deku is pretty much in his room, this pretty much thinking and remembering what Stain said, and she pretty much says this, Deku, you know you're a strong person, but I will escape and I will come after you. Which Deku was thinking about saying, huh, so she's gonna come after me. Now, later, this is where our door gets knocks in, and this is where we're gonna say, where Rocket comes in? Yeah. Where Rocket comes in? No, Bakugo comes in. This is where she knocks on the door and pretty much asks, can she come in? Which Deku says, yeah. This is where um, Bakugo start calling Deku an idiot for going off and fighting Stain by himself and being so reckless, which he says he started that he didn't mean to, but he felt like he could have handled it himself. And this is where Bakugo she leans in and starts to kiss him and make out with him. Now, Deku, of course, continues making out with her, and they begin to start getting undressed. Now, Deku start going down, kissing on her neck and all that stuff, and begins to start sucking on her boobs and all that stuff as she starts to moan and stuff. Now, this is where he's using the tips of his thumb and starts squeezing one of the nipples and stuff, and she started moaning extra hard and stuff and start getting wet, which Deku begins to proceed to start fingering her and stuff, and he makes her come. Now, this is where he pulls out his penis and begins to put his penis in her vagina, start going in and out and stuff, and this is where he eventually done nut the sauce. After done nutting the sauce, they pretty much lay together and wake up the next morning together. Which Deku heads out first, and then Bakugo she heads out first. Which Uraka realized that Deku and Bakugo pretty much just has sex with each other and goes to tell the rest of the girls, which the other girls are not that happy and saying they're going to have their next term with Deku. Now everybody's pretty much training their quirks and stuff and all that. This is where Deku, of course, is training his abilities stuff, which his abilities is not as quirk, so no one can really take away them, and he's the only one who can use the stuff. Uh, but his one quirk that can take away is the one for all quirk. Now, pretty much Deku is pretty much working out, doing setups and stuff with no shirt on and half shorts, and he's pretty much uh meditating, doing workouts, punching trees and stuff, maintaining his strength and all that stuff, and pretty much using. And every time he meditates, trees and roots and animals circle around him and stuff, and kind of meditate with him and sharing life force. So he's kind of like in that life force spiritual frame where you can do a lot of stuff with life force, which all the girls are at all at him because he managed to have all animals, including those creature beasts, be by him and just sit there and meditate with him or just relax with him and sleep with him, you could say, in the meditation. Now, after I'm gonna say meditation, this is where one of the teachers say, try out your quirk, which Deku puts in a stance, and he does a short smash kick, which pretty much destroy pretty much the half of the forest area, which the teacher said, I said try it, not go all out, which Deku pretty much scratches and start laughing, saying he's sorry. And she says, geez. But all the other students from the other classes begin to say, oh God, that he's kind of dangerous. I kind of don't want to fight him. If I wanted to, he might kill us. Now, we're going to say later, about a week, this is where the villains start doing their attack. Now, everything happens the same with the villains' attack, including female Razorhead get attacked. This is where Deku is looking around and he realized the little girl is gone. This is where he started going, and he's looking around for the female girl. Now, this is where the female villain with the muscle mutation starts to ready to kill until Deku comes in and kicks her right into the wall, creating a big crater. This is where Deku asks if she's alright, which she says yeah. Until the villain comes out, pretty much saying, "I almost died there, almost got hurt there because of you." Which Deku looks and says, "You really was trying to kill this girl?" Which the villain says, "Of course. She's that granddaughter of that old lady." Which she begins to say, "I'm going to kill her, and then I'm going to kill that old lady for what they did to me." Which Deku says she has nothing to do with it. It's you and that old lady beef. Which she said it doesn't matter. Now die. It throws a punch at Deku until Deku used some of the life force and use some of the life force. And we're gonna kind of say he's kind of using the Hyuga technique of using the fingertips as life force to pretty much erase or damage the quirk. We're gonna say he's gonna damage the quirk to nullify it to make it not work anymore until he refixes it. So this is where he does a fingertip, and when she throws a punch, he fingertips it and pretty much nullify her quirk. Now this is where her quirk is not working anymore. She's like, "What? What happened? What did you do to my quirk?" And this is where Deku lifts up his leg and does an X kick down on her head and pretty much knocking her out, saying, "I know I took away your quirk. What you have, I take." Which pretty much the little girl was saying, "Wow, you actually did that? You took away her quirk?" Which Deku says, "Yeah, I did. Now she can't use her quirk unless I turn it back on or fix it." This is where Deku takes the little girl back without any injury and stuff and begins to go help out the rest. Now, Deku is, since he's you could say not injured, he's beginning to help out people much more and starts to, being a more better support and stuff. But this is where, of course, the same as happened in Deku uh rescue one of his friends from the, I forgot the name, but female Bakugo, she gets captured, which Deku punched down the ground, creating a little crater, saying, "Damn it, I wasn't fast enough to save her." Now, of course, this is where all the teachers are at the recovery and stuff, and everybody's at the recovery, pretty much talking and saying, "We can rescue her. We just have to figure out where's the location and stuff." And Deku's pretty much is pissed off and frustrated that he wasn't strong enough to save his childhood friend, you could say Bakugo. This is where Deku begins to starts to focus and trying to figure out where she's at, and he begins to sense what place she's at and know where she's at, and begins to tell everybody that she knows where's Bakugo at and where they can rescue her. Which everybody's saying, "For real? Are you sure?" Which Deku is saying, "Yeah." Now this is where everybody gets their hero suit dressing and stuff, and this is where everybody start going to the place. Now this is where All For One is pretty much saying, "This is our final stand. This is where I'm going to destroy all female All Might or destroy All Might," and she's pretty much excited. Which Shigaraki saying, "I'm gonna finally meet him again." Which All For One is asking who, which female Shigaraki say it's nothing. Now this is where everything happens the same. The battle between All Might and All For One happens. Now this is where Deku rescues Bakugo, and she runs in, hugs him, and pretty much thanks him. Which Deku says is okay, and pretty much says go with them while he go help out All Might. Now this is where he runs and pretty much sees All Might and goes for a kick at All For One, which this is where All For One catches Deku's hand. I mean, not hand, but leg, and throws him into the wall. I mean, throws him into a building, which Deku pretty much uh, used the earth to pretty much soften his blow. You could say. This is where Deku comes back out and uses some earth styles. Uses some earth to shoot out branches to pretty much like to capture All For One, which pretty much All For One breaks the branches and pretty much says, "You think that's really gonna hold me?" Which Deku says, "Oh, I know." And pretty much All For One looks up and pretty much a boulder rock drops down on her and pretty much hits her down to the ground. This is where All Might, she comes in and does the short smash to the ground, pretty much damaging All For One, and the fight is pretty much going pretty bad, but pretty good and pretty bad at the same time, as both sides are taking big damage. This is where All For One thinks of a plan and shoots a rod at All Might, which Deku jumps in and takes the blunt force. Well, two rods, and Deku takes the blunt force. Now, as he takes the blunt force, this is where All Might, she screams out and says no, and Deku is pretty much coughing up a little blood and holding the rods and pretty much thinking to himself, saying, "Huh. So this is how I'm gonna die." And Deku begins to close his eyes. Now, as he's closing his eyes, this is where he hears someone. Yeah. This is where Deku hears a voice and someone calling upon him, saying, "Awaken." Which Deku opens up his eyes and see a light. Now, of course, Deku is pretty much confused and asks where he's at. Which, this is light pretty much begins to say, "Do you want to have power? Do you want to protect everybody you love? Do you want to come back to life?" Which Deku doesn't understand what he's talking about, but Deku agrees and says yes. Which the light says, "Then then touch my angelic wings, which this is where when Deku touches it, he begins to sprout out wings, and he begins to rip the pipes out his guts, you could say, and his wound begins to heal up quick. This is where Deku lifts up his eyes, and his eyes begin to look white, have like a white ring to it, and have wings. And his horns that I was talking about, the deer horns, they still there, but his hair is much longer and has a little white tips at the end. And All Might begins to look and say, "What?" While she's in a crater, pretty much damaged, because we're gonna say All for One was having the upper hand with her. This is where Deku steps once and pretty much creating big craters as he's taking a step, which All for One is confused with what the hell's happening. This is where she begins to shoot things at Deku, and Deku begins to dodge all the attacks. And this is where he goes forward and punches her in the gut, pretty much making her cough up blood. As she coughs up blood, this is where Deku lifts her up in the air and begins to start flying left and right and cutting her up and pretty much damaging her. And this is where he goes forward and does a backflip kick down on her head, sending her flying to the ground. Now, before she can reach up to the air again, Deku goes and blitz and punch her in the stomach, sending her flying down to the ground and pretty much ending the fight. Now, everybody begins to see on camera what Deku looks like and see how he defeated All for One. But this is where he coughs up a little blood and passes out, which everybody see All Might coming up and she lifts up her fits and everybody's cheering and stuff. Now, after that, Deku is pretty much in the infirmity, pretty much waking up of what happened. Which this is where All Might saying that he pretty much defeated All for One and pretty much achieved what she couldn't do. Which Deku says, he did? Which all the girls runs in and start kissing Deku and start hugging him, saying that they thought he was gone and stuff, which Deku says no, he's alright, and everybody's smiling. But we're gonna switch to All for One. All for One is pretty much doing the whole speech saying my apprentice and her gang of villains, a league of villains, will always be out there, and will eventually get much stronger and will want to come back for revenge. Which Shigaraki is pretty much with his group and pretty much clenching her fist, saying, "Damn it, All for One. All Might." Now this is part, I think, 4 of what if Deku was the only male with a quirk. If you like, leave a like, do all that stuff. But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.